Raf Epstein.
He has been named on the Lifetime Achievement Honour Roll. That alone sounds good, doesn't it? The Lifetime Achievement Honour Roll in the Victorian Disability Awards. Maurice Gleeson is President of Blind Sports and Recreation Victoria. Maurice, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Raf, for the opportunity.
What does it mean to you? Lifetime Achievement Roll, Disability Awards, does that...
It means I've been around a long time. So that's a start. Look, I guess it is a great honour, but you never receive these recognition in isolation. I mean, many people throughout your journey have influence in your life and a part to play in whatever we achieve.
And you're the President of Blind Sports and Recreation Victoria, which is why you've got this Lifetime Achievement Award. What's your favourite sport? Like, what actually gives you the most joy?
Oh, yeah, I've done all different sorts of sports. You know, I played cricket and I played tennis and swimming, goalball, athletic. I've never been any good at any of them. Absolutely haven't been. And people say, "Oh, no, you're fine." And it's very kind of them.
So being rubbish at sport hasn't stopped you heading an organisation that runs sport?
Absolutely. But I also love the experience.
Yes. Doing
skydiving and scuba diving. And about 10 years ago, I wanted to, in my days, when I was younger, we didn't really have a skateboard. We had rollerblades and all that sort of stuff. And I've never been skateboarding, so I organised to go skateboarding.
Skateboarding sounds like a bit of a challenge for someone who can't see well.
Well, it is a challenge, but we did a tandem. Right. But all of us have to do this. I love taking on the experience of trying it out, just to know what... that's what I put a lot of emphasis on. We talk about participation today.
Right.
And there's a big difference between minimal participation or meaningful participation.
The difference between minimal and meaningful?
Yeah. Minimal means that you're there, but you're not really... Well, you might be participating, but at a very basic level. Meaningful is that you're actually getting a lot out of it. Yeah. So it's no good me going to a skating rink and somebody describing it to me what it's like. That might be, interesting, but I actually would rather have some experience.
And Maurice, most of us have been locked down for most of last year and this year. So I'm just wondering, blind sports people, how do you do that over Zoom? Like, how's that been? Have you been able to do much stuff online?
It's been really interesting because any people with a profound disability have often had some restriction or limitation. So I think it's something that they've often had to live with and make adjustments and all that. So, and this is just a different adjustment that we've had to make. So we've been able to convert over to Zoom, and the plus is that we've been able to engage people who live in regional Victoria and interstate in our Zoom program.
I'm unclear how it works. If vision is the disability that you have, how do you use Zoom to do stuff online? Does that get in the way, or is it, I don't know, how does that work?
You have two options. Have the visual component of it, or you can dial direct. And you can have the telephone conferencing component. But what is interesting or different, the presenters, whoever's conducting the program, he or she or they have to give much more verbal description. Sure. So that's where it's the verbal description that is really important. So when you're doing your meditation or your aerobics or whatever the program may be.
Oh, so you do things like meditation, even though it's Sports and Rec Victoria. You do things like meditation and dancing, that sort of stuff?
Yeah, well, some years ago, primarily our organisation been around for a long time, we focus on the sporting component. But as society, we have changed a lot. It's diversified into recreation, and we're hoping to get more into the art field.
Right.
Yeah, so we're diversifying, not just competitive sport.
Maurice Gleeson is who you're listening to. He's the President of Blind Sports and Recreation Victoria. It is a great honour for him because, of course, everything's done online these days. But in the online awards for the Victorian Disability Awards, he has been placed on their Lifetime Achievement Honour Roll. Maurice, tell me a bit about you. You've been with Blind Sports and Rec for ages, I think for decades. How come?
Yeah, as I get older, I can't believe I seem to be winding up instead of winding down, which is I just see people today, 2021, despite all the challenges that we're having, I acknowledge that people, doesn't matter with or without a disability, going through our challenges and in different ways. But I think what we've got to look at, to acknowledge that, but say, what can we do for ourselves to minimise that impact? What can I actually do to make it? And that's where I think these Zoom programs have helped a lot, to connect with people, not so physically so much, but and that peer support. And today I think we have changed a lot. In the past, it was always what I'm doing for people with disability. Today, it's not. It's what we're doing with. So we're a much more even society.
I hope so. Maurice, you went blind, I think, after a school accident when you were about 13. I just wonder, what would Maurice now say to Maurice back when he's 13? What do you think you could have said to young 13-year-old Maurice that might have helped?
Oh, look, I think it's really interesting. Times have changed a lot. I mean, when I lost my sight, society was different. We were a lot more segregated. It took me about 10 years to adjust. I've heard people have been remarkable that they can adjust very quickly. It took me a long time.
What was that 10 years like, Maurice?
It was challenging circumstances in my family that I had to deal with or cope with. So 10 years, probably 10 or 12 years from 13 to mid-20s were incredibly challenging for me. And, education-wise, because I started working in a factory as a process worker.
Right.
Because it was felt in those days that I couldn't further my education. And it was advised that I should do pottery or basketry or piano tuning or something like that, which I wasn't so good at. Right. So things weren't looking very bright. So as a process worker, I think it must be something. I guess the message is, Raf, I wasn't sure where I was going, but I did come across some people who believed in me and encouraged me and saw that I did have potential to advance or have a different career path and packing boxes. The funny thing was, I often tell the story in the factory as a process worker. One of my main jobs was in quality control, testing globes. So I was actually a blind person testing these globes to see if they met the quality standard.
How? By touch? By sound?
Yeah, heat.
Heat, right.
Heat. So when you put it in your socket, if it was warm, it passed.
Right.
If it wasn't, it was a dud one. Okay. So that was one of my key roles in those days.
Was that a good job or not?
Oh, no. Well, the people were fine. They were great.
Sure.
But
sounds a bit like putting the caps on toothpaste tubes, though.
Well, about 19 and 20 now, and I'm thinking every day having to do this. I didn't want to be unemployed, so I stuck with it. And I'm thinking it has to be something better in life than this. It has to. So, as I said, with some encouragement and that, I was very fortunate to meet some wonderful people who have influenced my life.
Fantastic. Well, Maurice, thanks so much for joining us and congratulations on your award.
Oh, Raf, I would like to thank you and your program, and I would encourage everyone during these challenging... There's a couple of things in life we always need to remember, apart from death and taxes, there for sure, but changes and challenges always going to be a part of our lives. So put a lot of emphasis on how we deal with these changes and challenges. Thanks for the opportunity.
I think I'm going to keep that, changes and challenges. I'm going to steal that from you, Maurice. Thanks so much.
Good man.
It's just the changes and the challenges. Maurice Gleeson, President of Blind Sports and Recreation Victoria, a Lifetime Achievement Honour Roll with this year's Victorian Disability Awards. Alex has this in Monash. Been lucky to sit on some local community meetings with Maurice. He's an absolute gem of a human, a tremendous champion for social inclusion. wonderful to hear him on the show.